Hello everybody and welcome to Whiz, your family-friendly podcast where we discuss D&D Onslaught, Dice Masters, Heroclix, and the other entertaining games made by Whiz Kids. I'm WizDad and I'm that critical miss that you rolled when you really needed a critical hit. You don't like to see me and more likely than not I'll be on your mind for the rest of the day. I will be your guide for navigating the competitive and casual scenes of the Whiz Kids Triforce of gaming. It's Mashup Monday. It's going to be a Heroclix heavy episode as we pause our Silver Age discussion to talk the results from the ChampionClix tournament that occurred over the weekend. But before we get to that, let's check out some of the spoilers we heard about in the Whiz Kids Progress Report.
Kowalski, Progress Report.
Now, before we dig too deep into the Progress Report, I wanted to remind everybody, a little housekeeping note. I have been updating the YouTube, trying to get the podcast updated more frequently, I should say. I've got it set up now to where it should be, once we play catch up, obviously, I'm kind of releasing one episode a day to kind of keep feeding the machine until we're caught up to recent. But once we are caught up to recent, there should be no more delay. Once the podcast hits the RSS feed, it'll be there on the YouTube for you to check out. So if you prefer listening to podcasts on YouTube, because I know Google, I think, is doing away with Google Podcasts and kind of mixing everything into YouTube. Who knows? Google does some weird things. You'll be able to get the latest episode on the WizDad Gaming YouTube. So definitely check it out. If you're not subscribed, please go out there and do so. As far as what has happened over the weekend, I feel bad because I didn't mention it last weekend, but congratulations to Dan Lowe for winning the BWX Fest that occurred for Dice Masters last weekend. I didn't record a Mashup Monday last week, so I kind of forgot about it. But congrats to also Dan Lowe, who is on the Dice Masters Discord. Congratulations to him. It's always great to see that community continuing to exist, even though WizKids, for the most part, has kind of left them high and dry. I still plan on getting with Collector Rob, who is on the Discord, to talk about some more Dice Masters. I just haven't lined it up. I've got so much stuff going on. Collector Rob, if you're listening, I apologize, but we'll catch up and talk some Dice Masters here in the next couple weeks. For Heroclix, though, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, like probably 3 minutes ago, this is going to be a big, heavy Heroclix episode. We got a lot of results over the weekend. We'll talk more about that in the fishing segment, but let's talk a little bit about the spoilers. Dial H for Heroclix covered all of the ChampionClix tournament. The ChampionClix got a lot of kind of previews and what's the word for it? Some very excellent WizKids prizing, and that included the King Kong Iconics, the Sherlock Holmes Iconics, and they had one brick of next phase that they were able to auction off. So that's great, fantastic. I really wish I had gotten the ChampionClix, and they also had gotten a lot of other goodies from WizKids as well. It's awesome that WizKids was supporting an event like ChampionClix. I hope they continue to do so. It is a very, I like to think of ChampionClix as the kickoff event for the Heroclix season. I hope everyone else does too. It makes sense that it is. So if you want to see any of the spoilers, definitely go check out the Dial H for Heroclix page. I won't really talk about in detail because some of that I'll save for the set review. What I will say though is if you don't have your pre-orders in for Sherlock and the King Kong Iconics, you probably want to get them in soon. Remember, Sherlock comes out on February 14th. And then don't forget the Roses for Red comes out on February 7th, the week before. They didn't get Roses for Red, but they did get the Sherlock Holmes. It definitely looks interesting. I'm kind of on the fence on whether or not I think it's going to be super playable. It's I think it might be because of the interactions it does with giving kind of additional clue tokens. Sherlock does, for the mystery cards, but we'll have to see. It's one of those tricky ones, kind of like the Hall of Armor, that I think is like borderline. Someone may make it work, but it isn't just clear cut, oh my goodness, you have to have this. King Kong is kind of in a similar boat. He's super cool, looks amazing. He comes with some different terrain pieces that I don't know if we've seen all of these. We haven't seen these specific ones before because they each do something unique. They're not game breaking by any means, but if you're a big terrain, special terrain, or non-standard terrain fanatic, then definitely pick a King Kong. Remember, King Kong comes out in March. It is the only thing we know of when it's happening in March, and that's March 6th. So you might still have time to get orders in on King Kong or have your store place orders for King Kong because we're still, over a month away. Another thing I wanted to talk about is Onslaught. I didn't have a chance to record it this weekend, but this week I will find time to record my tier maker. I am going to be doing a tier maker kind of video, so it'll be up on YouTube. It won't be part of the podcast, where I will go through all the current characters, heroes, people you could choose on a team, and kind of separate them from their teams and just talk about how I like them in general. Whether I try to put this person on the team. I know it's going to be subjective because obviously you don't know what scenarios you're playing. It might change. But I like to think that I have a general view on each piece, like each figure. Like, oh, this is how I like this figure and this is why. So stay tuned for that. I'm hoping it'll be out probably near the end of the week. I'll record it at the beginning of the week and hopefully get it out by the end of the week. Besides that, there's really not much more to talk about because I'm going to be talking about ChampionClix here in the Fishing with WizDad segment. So I'll see you there.
Get your gear, little man. We're going fishing. And I mean now.
Alright, so for those that aren't aware, the ChampionClix event just recently occurred this past weekend in Orlando. I went last year. It was a fantastic event. I was so happy I went. And very sad I didn't go this time. It's fantastic to see how it's grown over the past, I guess this was the third year that they've done this. David Newmark has done a fantastic job of organizing it with the help of PG Boland and Lucas Tom Van Hollen, who does the judging. It's been fantastic. I enjoyed it last year, and from what I hear, this year was even better. So if you're not familiar with the tournament and you're not, because it's not a WizKids run tournament, it's not within a con. It's just kind of like a Rock Cup. I would absolutely place it in a similar echelon of the Rock Cup, like it is now to me. But basically, it's 3 days of Heroclix. They ran a apples and oranges event, I believe, on Friday, which I don't really know much about it, unfortunately. It was kind of one of those unusual formats that wasn't just 300-point Modern. It wasn't really Silver Age. There's a little here or there with it. But it had a great turnout. 30 teams. And each team, I think, had 2 people on it. So 60 players. That's awesome. That's great turnout for a non-WizKids ran tournament. And then Saturday, there was the 300-point Modern. And that's the one we're going to kind of focus on today to talk about because Sunday was Team Sealed. And congratulations to the Team Sealed winners, which, if I remember correctly, it was just 4 points. But I don't remember if they went by 4 points for this. Oh, yep, they did. They definitely were 4 points. Gaming, Scott Crampton, Isaac, and Ed, Arnold Berkovitz. So congrats to them for winning first place in the Team Sealed event. And let's talk about 300-point Modern. So 300-point Modern, in my opinion, is in an interesting place. First off, I would be remiss if I didn't say congratulations to our U.S. national winner, who is now the winner of ChampionClix Modern, and that's Alex Mater. He won. Second place went to Rob Olger, and then top 4 was Isaac AB, Daniel Powell, and then rounding out the top 8 was Josafa Alves, Dylan Kassenbaum, Gus Williams, and Cole Williams. So we're going to focus purely on the top 8 because their teams are readily available, and I think they give a good insight to where the season is kicking off. Because remember, going into ChampionClix, this was the first significant 300-point Modern tournament that we had. We had some of the trials for ChampionClix, but those were kind of in pockets, around the country, and so they didn't give you necessarily they gave you a good hint at what the 300-point Modern is, but didn't necessarily give you the more realistic look. So we'll start with Alex Mader's team. He played, not surprising, Prime Spider-Man, which he played at Nationals and won, Carnage Silver Surfer, Venom Thanos, which I think is interesting, Black Skull, and then the 2 Scott Porters. No surprise there. The big difference, I think, from his Nationals team is the addition of Venom Thanos. I'd have to go back and see what his national team was again to see what he lost. But if I remember correctly, he didn't lose much. Venom Magneto. That's really it. His Nationals team was Prime Spider-Man, Carnage Silver Surfer, Black Skull. So those 3 existed. And then he had Venom Magneto, Mephisto, and Commissioner. He lost, obviously, Venom Magneto and Commissioner. And he opted not to go with Mephisto because he gained the Scott Porters. So what he lost in, let's see, that would be 60, 90, so 105 points. He flipped that over to his current team, which was Venom Thanos, Scott Porter, and the other Scott Porter. So that's 100 points. He also had the all black. He lost that on Prime Spider-Man. Prime Spider-Man now had the black symbiote. So all those points went into Venom Thanos, who had the Hell Cycle, Black Skull, who had the Web Shooters, and Scott Porter, who had obviously the Sinestro Core Ring. I will tell you right off the bat before we break down his team more, a Sinestro Core Ring was on every single team in this tournament, or not tournament, in top 8. Whew, that'd be bad if it was every tournament, every player in the tournament. It was top 8. All top 8 had a Sinestro Core Ring. It was by far the most played equipment in top 8. So his team, like I said, hadn't changed very much from Nationals. He mostly lost some of the support pieces, and he definitely switched them for the 2 Scott Porters was by far much better support. Well, I guess if you're thinking Venom Magneto, Mephisto, swapping that for the 2 Scott Porters, I guess you can argue it's an equal exchange because you lose the free TK, but you gain the free Sinestro ring, so sure. I think the most interesting piece on here is obviously the Venom Thanos. It's the one that hadn't seen play. It was okay, like it existed, but it just wasn't ever played. I think part of that is because it built into the symbiote theme team, right? Prime Spider-Man, Carnage Silver Surfer, Black Skull already had symbiote. And both Scott Porters, one Scott Porter obviously has every keyword, the other one could just gain symbiote. So there you go. So it may have been just an easy fill-in, saying, hey, I just want to play a symbiote team who fits in, and obviously Venom Thanos is the best one to do so. So what Venom Thanos brings to the team? Played at 50 points. He's got the symbiotic fusion, which we know what that is. Plasticity, super senses. If Venom Thanos is within 4 squares in line of fire of an opposing character, he can't be targeted by ranged attacks. Cool. He's got traded leadership, which I believe is one of the key reason. He lost leadership by losing Commissioner Venom Magneto, so he needed a leadership on the team. But he also has Free. Choose one to use until your next turn. Phasing, teleport, close combat expert, mind control, prob, shape change, or steal energy. If Venom Thanos succeeded with leadership this turn, he has friendly characters with a symbiote or monster keyword within range can use the chosen power. His range is 4. So he can use any of those abilities, which is fine. But if he succeeds on that leadership, then his whole team, if they're within 4, can get shape change or steal energy or prob or close combat expert. Like, that's pretty good. Now, Thanos also has a special attack power. Sure. 50 points, he's only 3 clicks, but he does have a stop click on his damage dial. That's important because if you think of the Captain America on a Pegasus, that character specifically states you can't use defense powers. So Venom Thanos gets around that. Very, very interesting. I didn't think this character was that good, but I can see now that since we've gotten so many good symbiotes, and we have the Black Skull that brings in the Masters of Evil engine, I could see why this was played. So if you don't have a Venom Thanos, his price is probably going up. I could see people wanting to copy Alex's team for sure. Let's talk about second place, Robert Olger. He played a more unique team, I think. He played 048 Ghost Rider, 70.1. That's the one that says you can use powers. Perfect. It counters a lot of the power erasers, which not a ton got played. Top 8 did have one team did have 2 of the Pegasus Captain Americas, but not a lot of just, you don't get to use these powers. He played Arachnite at 60. I thought that was interesting at 60. I prefer Arachnite higher, but the points probably didn't fit. Arachnite had the Soul Sword. Ghost Rider had Bucky's arm. Carnage Silver Surfer, of course. Iron Fist, uncommon Iron Fist. We'll come back to that. The two Scott Porters, one with the Sinestro ring, and then Prime Hulk, who had the motorcycle. Very interesting team. Like, it's sort of weird. I don't believe it was themed. No, it shouldn't be themed. I think Carnage Silver Surfer helps break that. But it's interesting, right? Like, I knew going into this, Arachnite was going to be better than advertised, right? Arachnite's been around for a while. He's always been on, like, the precipice of being good, but power erasers kind of helped take that away from him. And then also the All Black, the Necrosword, kind of even made it worse, because he does rely on super senses and shape change to really protect him. But now that that's gone, and now that there's not really a ton of power erasers out there, I can see why he is a lot more popular. He's only 4 clicks at 60. He does have a stop click on his defensive dial right there, smack dab in the middle. So, that's interesting. Let's talk about the Iron Fist. Now, I'm still questioning. I haven't seen it played, so I'm not... I can't speak of how Rob used Iron Fist. But taking a look at 027 Iron Fist, it's the rare Iron Fist, 30 points. That gives him this Iron Fist has a team player. He has willpower. Opposing characters within 4 squares that can use willpower only succeed on a 6. All right. Besting Shulao the Undying. When Iron Fist attacks one or more opposing characters, modify his attack +2 if any of the targets are multi-base or have one or more of the following. They're giant, colossal, or have the monster keyword. Okay. +2 to hit. That makes him a 13. That's nice. But he's only 3 clicks with super senses. My guess is it's his movement power. Charge, Force Blast. Force Blast as free, but only to target an adjacent character. That's the only reason I could think of that he would go for this character. Now, the team itself, like, that's... I'm honestly a little bit at a loss what the purpose of the Iron Fist is at 30. I have to be missing something. on why this one is so good. I don't know if it's because of the willpower only succeeding on a 4, or sorry, on a 6. I don't know if that's it. It does give him access to team player. That's fine. But honestly, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about it a little bit today, and I just am not quite sure what it adds. Because we know what Ghost Rider does. It protects powers, which means he protects Arachnite, Carnage Silver Surfer, all of that. Iron Fist is still feels like a 30-point liability. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Either way, congratulations to Rob for getting second. It's a very unique team. He did have a Carnage Silver Surfer. He did have 2 Scott Porters. You will see this as an ongoing theme for most of top 8. I will go ahead and tell you, 7 out of the 8 top 8 players used 2 Scott Porters. Both of the Scott Porters. 5 out of the 8 used Carnage Silver Surfers, and the Masters of Evil engine. Not the same 5. 5 used Carnage Silver Surfers. A different 5, or some of the same 5, used the Masters of Evil engine. I won't get on my soapbox about that right now. It is the first tournament of the new season. I just don't like that kind of percentage of play when 7 out of the 8 teams use the same 2 pieces. The Scott Porters, to me, that screams like there's some sort of problem there. A little bit of a problem. So it remains to be seen, right? Like, obviously, there's nothing to be done by WizKids. WizKids doesn't need to be making any changes, any decision. Once again, it's one tournament, right? This is the first, I would call, major tournament that they are legal. So, no need to make any rash decisions. But all I'm saying is keep this on your radar. Keep an eye out. Keep a look at it. See how many Scott Porters, see how many Carnage Silver Surfers, and keep an eye on the Masters of Evil engine, which, once again, Masters of Evil engine is the Black Skulls, Dark Phoenix, Iron Killmonger, or not Iron King Killmonger, Iron, I keep saying Conquistador, but Conqueror. Keep an eye on that. Clearly, it is everywhere. It's going to remain everywhere. But as far as changes down the road, if WizKids was to do a watch list again at some point, those 3 things would be on my list: the Scott Porters, Carnage Silver Surfer, and the MOE machine. Now, once again, to round out your top 3, we've got Isaac Arnold Berkovitz. He played Prime Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Carnage Silver Surfer, Kid Thanos, Mephisto, and Guardian Thunderer. Not that different than kind of some of the other teams we're talking about. That Ghost Rider is seeing a ton of play to protect powers. Prime Spider-Man, Carnage Silver Surfer, of course. Kid Thanos gives you access to the MOE machine. Now, he is the only one that did not play Scott Porters. Now, I don't know if that was purely out of spite, right? They did give him, now, if you haven't seen these, Dial H for Heroclix does these really cool cards. Like, they look like Heroclix cards that shows the players and their team on it. They gave him the anti-porter keyword. I thought that was pretty funny. So I don't know if he did it on purpose to show that teams could be made without porters, so kudos to him if that's what he was aiming for. But still, to do that, he still played Prime Spider-Man, Carnage Silver Surfer, and the MOE machine. So I'm hoping we get some really good pieces in next phase that helps, cut some of the stuff back. Same with Deadpool and Wolverine, and whenever we get to Adepticon, right? If depending on when next phase comes out, the modern we have now could be the modern that we have at Adepticon in March. So if you're building for Adepticon, take a look at this top 8, because this is what you're going to be facing. A decent amount of this. Moving on the dance team. Hey, what do you know? A little bit of variety there. 2 Carnage Silver Surfers this time. Dark Phoenix, so MOE machine. Mephisto, kind of part of the MOE machine. and 2 Scott Porters. What the big difference he has on his team is he has Hope Summers, a forgotten favorite of many. The Prime Batman, which I think is a very interesting play, brings a lot of support to a team for very little points, being able to have that Green Lantern and the utility belt. And then a Scott Crampton. Hope Summers is, once again, one of those picks. Don't forget, Hope Summers does exist. She has not rotated. She is from X of Swords. She's the one that allows you to kind of copy powers from a friendly. She's a leadership TK piece. If you need leadership for 40 points, she is a great go-to piece because she fulfills a lot of roles. Because forget, the Scott Porters don't provide you leadership. So that's a big to-do. I think a lot of people are looking for leadership because they've lost the crutch that was Venom Magneto that provided the free TK and the leadership. They're turning to the Scott Porters who, in their own right, ridiculously overpowered and undercosted. But, to their point, they don't have leadership. So, kudos to that. But congratulations to Dan for getting a top 4 finish for that. But, the thing with top 4, I should mention, is that everyone in top 4 used a Carnage Silver Surfer. At least one. 3 of the top 4, besides Isaac, all of them used Scott Porters. And 3 out of the 4 used the MOE machine. Rob was the only one that didn't use the MOE machine because he kind of went in a different direction slightly. And I think that's interesting. I think that once again we have these kind of 3 or 4 different power bases that you could just all throw on a team. So if you want to kind of quote unquote net deck in Heroclix at this moment, you could probably do really well if you get at least a Carnage Silver Surfer, 2 Scott Porters, and the MOE machine. That is 150 points baseline, right? 50 points for a Carnage Silver Surfer, 50 points for both Scott Porters, and 50 points for one of the MOE pieces. So half your team is that, you're good. You probably could do pretty darn well almost with anything else you put out there on the field for the other 150 points. That's just a solid core. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it's not as if those pieces are cheap, right? Carnage Silver Surfer is up in the 200s, 300s. I haven't looked to see what Scott Porter's worth now, because I think he's kind of hard to find. At least one of them. The black shirt, I think, is harder to find than the white shirt. And then you have the MOE chases who kind of go back and forth in price. Some of them are obviously a lot more expensive than others. So probably in the $100 to $200 range for one of them, and you need 3 or 4 of them. So that's not quite raising alarm bells for me, but it is making me a little concerned. Now, what I will say for Silver Age, you lose Carnage Silver Surfer because he has been benched, thankfully. I wonder now if they should have benched some of the other pieces, but we will see. But let's talk about 6th through 8th, because that is where we start seeing some unusual teams pop up. You have Josapha's team. He played Hawkeye and Hawkeye, World's Finest at 60, 2 of the Chase Shaggies at 40, Commissioner Gordon, 2 Scott Porters, and Scott Crampton. That's probably very unusual. It's a detective team. He does have 3 mystery cards out there. Search for Amat's Tomb, String of Cat Burglaries, and Murder in the City Endearing. It's an excellent way to use detectives. I've always thought detectives had potential because of the way they can use basically every single mystery card if they wanted. And I wish we could see some of Josapha's team, because I think, or not team, some of his games, because I wanted to see how much the mystery cards came into play. But let's talk a little bit about some of these unique figures that popped up. First, let's talk about the Hawkeye and Hawkeye. 75 points, 7 clicks. It is a smorgasbord of powers listed on their dial. Free, place Hawkeye and Hawkeye in a square of different elevation within range of a line of fire. Friendly bystanders named Kate Bishop can use this trait. Once per turn, when Hawkeye and Hawkeye make an attack after resolutions, they may make an attack. At the beginning of your turn, Hawkeye and Hawkeye may generate a Kate Bishop bystander. If you do, they can't use this trait until Kate Bishop is removed from the game. So they basically get 2 attacks. That's actually surprisingly solid. I don't know if I didn't see that before, but it's kind of a duo aspect. He didn't give them any equipment, actually, ironically enough. World's Finest, we know what they do, so that's not surprising. Shaggy, I haven't had the opportunity to talk about Shaggy that much. So Chase Shaggy at 40 points. When he has unique modifier when a clue token is placed on a friendly mystery card. Friendly characters with mystery ink modify damage +1, so he'll have 3. He has Sidestep, Force Blast, Perplex, but only to target an opposing character who has been knocked back this turn. And he has Charge, a special special movement power, Charge. When Shaggy uses it and hits, if a hit character has the monster or mystical keyword after resolutions, he can use Flurry as free. Otherwise, after resolutions, he may make an attack. So this is another character that can make multiple attacks. Very neat. Very, very neat. For 40 points, 5 clicks, only super senses and shape change. So, hello, price of Shaggy going up, because that is neat. Then he has Commissioner Gordon out there, who's a detective. That Legacy Commissioner Gordon, I believe, gives you free TK. I believe it is reliant on them sharing a keyword. Yeah, TK is free, but only to target another friendly character that shares a keyword with Commissioner Gordon. That character is 30 points. And then obviously the 2 Scott Porters who can gain Detective. And Scott Crampton has Detective for what it's worth. Very, very interesting team. You can instantly see where the damage comes from. Now, it is a little frail if they can get through the super senses and shape change. It is a little frail, but I think it's neat. I think I like it. It's a lot, it's a lot of extra attacks. Hawkeye and Hawkeye give you 2 attacks. Each Shaggy gets an extra attack. Super solid. World's Finest, I believe, has 2 attacks. So you're talking about a lot of attacks for Detective. If you're looking to build a Detective team, definitely look at your sophist team. Dylan Kazabom uses Prime Wonder Woman, and then I believe that is Death Metal Wonder Woman, King Killmonger, the 2 Pegasus Captain Americas, and the 2 Scott Porters. This is built around kind of somewhat of a defensive shell, and use the Captain Americas to go forward, charge forward, and conquer. Is that the right word? It is a very, very solid team. Prime Wonder Woman, I think, is a little underplayed. It's a warrior theme team, I guess. I think that's what it says listed here. So definitely keep an eye out for this one. Captain America needs to be on your radar, because he is a somewhat power eraser, sort of. And then Gus Williams is playing he's got Arachnite at 100 points with Galactus, of all things. Spider-Man Prime with the Symbiote Black. Madam Web, that's an interesting one, with Indigo Tribe Ring, who was paid 10 points. And then the 2 Scott Porters. Madam Web is an interesting one. Let's talk about her real quick, because we have not seen her. She is a super rare. She has a Rally Die Super Senses. When a friendly character uses Super Senses, instead of rolling a d6, you may remove one of Madam Web's Rally Die to use it as a result, which is a 6. Who would have thought? She has Traveling Universal Web, free. Choose a friendly character with a Spider-Man keyword within 4 squares. Until the next turn, that character can use improved movement, blocking, and ignore characters. Okay. And then she has Prob Control, special damage power, Probability Control. Madam Web can use Probability Control an additional time each turn, but only to target a character with the Spider-Man family keyword. 30 points, that's good, giving your characters kind of a good movement capabilities that go through blocking. You don't have to worry about any of the barrier with that, and they ignore characters as well. I like that. Very, very cool concept, especially with Arachnite in there. And using Galactus to give outwit protection and to grant a few powers. I think that's super solid. And then finally, let's wrap it up with Cole Williams, who played double Carnage Silver Surfer, MOE Engine, Genesis, the only Genesis in top 8, Mephisto, both Scott Porters, and Prime Hulk. So not a ton to talk about there that we haven't already said before. But congratulations to top four and top 8 of ChampionClix Modern. This is definitely, if you're building for Modern, building for Adepticon, whatever tournaments you have going forward, this should be what you look at. These are the builds you need to see. Now, we don't have any of the tarot cards that they used. Don't forget, tarot cards still exist, guys. But this should be what you look at to identify, can my team handle it? Kind of some final remarks about this, looking at the results. It's awesome to be back into Heroclix, to have the season kick off, to have Modern going. It is a little bit what I was worried about. I was worried that Scott Porter's Carnage Silver Surfer MOE was going to be everywhere, and lo and behold, it was. So I'm eager, hoping, praying that next phase gives us something unique that can help break these kind of cookie cutter, kind of little too undercosted figures. Because if they don't, then hello, this is probably what you'll see at Nationals, what you'll see at Worlds until these figures rotate, because they're kind of unreasonably good. Well, I hate that I spent most of this episode talking about Heroclix. It's a Mashup Monday, but kind of a Mashup Monday Heroclix episode, but with ChampionClix just happening, I wanted to go ahead and cover it as much as I could. We will switch back to Silver Age on our Friday episode of Heroclix, and obviously we'll talk about Onslaught on Wednesday. So thank you guys for listening to this episode of Whiz. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and I hope you had a wonderful Monday, or you have one, right? And I will see you guys on Wednesday.